Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Lore Sports proudly brings to you the best racing podcast in the world. Now, here's your host, Lauren Leach, the color guy, Mark Allen, the Lugs Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Lugs Racing Podcast, sponsored by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. Thank you, Tim, with the Corp Racing and Ben and Kerry with Valley Gasket. We appreciate it so much. Means the world to us. So, hey buddy, episode 161, man. How are you doing?
How you doing, man? How was Homestead this weekend? Put out some good racing, huh?
Yeah, it was good racing. We kind of expected that out of there. It's one of our favorites, quite honestly, and a lot of talk about it going to be the championship race next year and maybe in the future. So we'll see what happens with that. How did you enjoy it?
I heard the same rumor, man. I'm hearing next year it sounds like Homestead, and then maybe Las Vegas the following year is the hot rumor, but those are only rumors. But I like the idea of having that championship race moved around a little bit. So, I'm all for that. I think all the fans want that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about what to do with it. Location. Do you make it a 3-round championship for a 3-round race like the rest of the playoff rounds for the championship? Hearing some chatter that there might be some changes in the upcoming years. We'll see what happens with that. But I think one thing is for sure, I think it'll move away from Phoenix. Of course, a couple weeks ago, we just saw awesome racing at Phoenix. So is it the time to move away from it? But we'll see what happens, like I said.
We'll see. We need some variety, so I'm all for that. I think the fans want it too, man.
Yeah, I do too. Well, man, we're going to have Shane Bahr join us today. Of course, he's a longtime crew member in the sport and also joined racing in the recent years. Last year was his rookie year there in the sport mod division out on the dirt. So we're going to get an update from him and talk some racing and have a good time with it. And then, of course, we're going to recap a busy weekend of racing. Of course, we got Formula One to recap, IndyCar to recap, Homestead, and then to look ahead here. So before we get going, I just want to say that Brian Buxick, we've talked about him over the last few weeks, one of our big supporters that we unfortunately lost. Great turnout for his visitation. Was happy to see that because he's just an awesome guy. I know you and I ran into each other down there, so that was pretty cool. I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking about it, and gosh, he's just going to be missed. It's such a tough loss that I've been dealing with. And of course, I got some news that I'm not ready to share yet about it. And I got some thoughts in my head that I might be working on some things regarding Brian and keeping his memory alive and all that. But great turnout for him. Well deserved because he was just an awesome guy.
Great turnout, man. We had to walk 3 blocks, man. There was so many cars there, so definitely well known and going to be totally missed, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure. In addition to that, Friday when we were down at the Wisconsin High School State Boys Basketball Tournament, we got some news that Tom Jennerjohn also had passed away. Another huge loss in the racing community. He owns Signs Now, and then he did Little Orbert's Mini Donuts for, I believe it was 27 years, so almost my whole life out there. So Tom's the only guy that I've known to do that. He would bring us some stuff to the tower with me announcing out there every week, so I got to see him. I think he helped another sign company that was doing some work when I was in the banking industry, in the finance industry, what I guess I am again, but so I got to have some good conversations with him while the work was going on and all of that. And just another great guy. So his visitation is tomorrow. So that's just, I just feel like there's been a lot of big losses lately in the racing community, and it's just hard.
Yeah, he was the one that always made the place smell so good. If you got the wind coming off that donut shack, holy smokes, dude. And what a friendly guy, man. Every time you walk by, you just say hi, and you have the time to wave to you, and so like So yeah, that was unfortunate news that we got on Friday, man. So it just unfortunate. So thoughts and prayers to the friends and family of him right there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Couple of big losses there. Hopefully people can make it out for Tom as well, like they did Brian. Just unfortunate, but they would want us to keep going on. So somehow we'll transition out of this here.
Yep, that's the way it is in the racing fraternity, man. We just got to keep moving on. That's what everybody seems like everybody would want. So that's what we're going to do.
Yep, and we'll keep their memory alive for sure. Well, man, tough transition, like I said, obviously, but why don't we go out to the hotline and talk to Shane Bahr here and get an update from him and talk some racing.
All right, let's go to the hotline. We like doing that, man.
Let's do it. All right, Shane, thanks for joining us again here. I was just talking. We're excited to hear the update after your kind of rookie year there and all the races you hit up last year. So how are you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys?
Sounds like I hear some music in the background. What's going on over there?
Yeah, we just fired the car up for the first time for the year, so just trying to get some good heat in the engine, and we just got done replacing valve springs on Saturday. I should say Aaron did. I didn't do any of the work.
Well, hey man, I want to start with this. You guys have been doing a heck of a job on social media, something that I'm trying to do something better of, you and your wife on Bahr Motorsports. So go follow them out on Facebook. And if you're on any other platforms, you can share that with us too. But I've been enjoying some of your video updates and all your shout outs. And boy, the car looks beautiful for this upcoming year.
Yeah, Chad absolutely knocked it out of the park, just like he does every year for anybody he does graphics for. I'm sure everybody that he takes care of would agree with that. So I'm really excited about how the car turned out, and look good, play good kind of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you had quite the successful year. Won Rookie of the Year at one of the tracks that you were running at. Was that Outagamie Speedway that you won, or where was that you won Rookie of the Year?
No, it was 141 Speedway. We won Rookie. We missed Rookie, I believe, by 2 points or something like that at Seymour. We did end up missing the night there when I rolled over. So, not saying that was the cause of it, but sure as heck didn't help us. So we almost attained all of our goals for the year. We got a win at Seymour, which was awesome because I feel like I absolutely struggled there. The biggest goal was to get 141 Speedway Rookie of the Year, and so we accomplished that. And my last and biggest goal was to try to get top 10 national rookie points, and we missed that by, I don't know, 10 points or something like that. We were 13th, so extremely happy with how the first year went. Obviously, things can always go better, but they can also always go a lot worse. So.
Yeah, man. So, hey, starting, you ain't no young chicken there, starting out. Was it as hard as it is to get into the sport and drive? I mean, what was your expectations and everything? How did it go?
So the expectation was probably a little weird just because I am old in racing terms. Most 40-year-olds don't figure out they want to go start a racing team and drive on their own, but here we are. I wouldn't say it was overly hard. It's just, it's different for me. It's a different mindset. Not that I don't do anything any different than I did on any of the other cars that I've ever worked on in the past. It's just you're kind of doing it for yourself, and it's really weird. There's a really awkward to adjust that mindset to not take care of others and make sure that you're taking care of your own program and making sure that you had everything that you needed to be lined up and kind of help you get the right step in front of the next step.
So you were a crew member for a long time, still are. I've seen you out at Oktoberfest, helping Alex Stumpf, as well as on Thursday nights, helping Andy Monday as well, in addition to Alex, in all of that. How are you able to keep up? Because that can be a busy schedule. You're trying to help these guys, spot for these guys, in addition to running a night or two during the weekend.
So I really struggled not being in the shop, right? Like I just, but you had to kind of put yourself and your race team first for the first time ever. I've never even given myself that opportunity. So it wasn't like I had that opportunity and I just wasn't taking it. I just didn't take that opportunity. So, that part is hard, but as far as like the Thursday night stuff goes, I'm literally just a bag spotter. I'm not going to say I don't know anything that's going on with their cars, because I feel like I have a fairly decent grasp on how that stuff still works. I'm probably not anywhere near technology wise, knowledge wise up to snuff, but I feel like I can still bring value as far as when people have questions. I feel like I can still logically answer them. They may not be pinpoint as accurate as 10 years ago, but it's not. I mean, it's busy, but it's not like it's, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no time.
We talked last time, and I remember this vividly. We were sitting in your garage there and we're talking. I was like, I'm so happy that you get to live out your dream. You actually corrected me. It was never your dream. You just your dream was to work on race cars, just be involved in all of that. But now you have a full year under your belt of racing here. Has your mindset shifted to where that's for sure what you want to do years down the road?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I love the heck out of it. I mean, it's so fun and it's so demanding. I'm nowhere near as good as some of the guys. I have so much to learn. Obviously, I've got 30, 45 races maybe under my belt, and getting to have that expectation of, the levels of, the Corey Kempkesses, the Koivlees, those kind of guys. I'm nowhere near that yet, but I do expect myself to get there because I don't work hard to not get there.
So, what are your goals for 2025, Dune? What would make you happy for your expectations?
So our goals kind of shifted this year a little bit. I don't have any, as of right now, I don't have any anticipation to run for points anywhere. We do have probably 45 or 50 shows ish on the schedule, but they'll all be pretty local, and we're gonna kind of bebop around and kind of hit where we can. It'll mainly stick to Seymour and 141, but with Beaver Dam kind of shutting down, I'd really like to hit that at the end of the year to make sure that we support that as best we can. And then I want to hit Luxembourg a few times, and we'll see where she goes from there.
I remember this video happening last year here. You got the win and you jumped in the lake or pond or whatever you want to call it, and you were so pumped to do it. What is that moment like? I mean, you looked like you were just on top of the world in that moment.
Oh, absolutely, I was on top of the world. 141 is so hard to win at. There's so many cars every night. I think last year, I want to say we averaged 32 or 35 cars in our division throughout the season. So not only do you have a lot of cars, but the competition is that good too. And not that it's not good anywhere else. It's just when you have good cars and there's 35 of them, it's tough to get through. I mean, heat races are critical. And if you can't get there in the heat race, now you're starting somewhere in the 20s to come from there and try to get your top fives and top tens and wins. That's tough to do in any track, let alone a track where you're averaging the most in the entire country. So, and it seems like it's probably only going to get I guess better per se. I anticipate that car count going up this year with the announced pay raise that they gave each division. They gave each division, the top five, I believe, a pay raise. So that's a pretty big deal in my book. And I think they had some other announcements too about adding a race, like a B feature kind of thing to kind of support those that maybe need some more track time and kind of give them their own feature. So really exciting.
141 Speedway was always one that I had hoped to make at, actually, when it was asphalt, and then it switched to dirt there. I still haven't made it there. It's on my list. I got to come see you race there.
Absolutely.
So you kind of talked about it a little bit, but it sounds like it's kind of your favorite track to race at there, and you alluded to some things there. What does make it maybe one of your favorite tracks to race at, and what attracts all these people other than the pay race that you mentioned? What attracts other people to race there and have that best car count in the country?
I think first and foremost is the crew that they have working there. You know, the track staff, the safety crew, the promoter, the owner. You know, from top down, it's like nothing I've ever been to, even as a crew member. It's just not something you experience. And how the program is run is, I mean, typically there's a gap between each division. So like they'll water the track a little bit, you know, kind of let the first heat race of that division kind of runs that in a little bit, you know, you pack it in, and that takes a couple minutes. But I'm not even kidding. When you pull out on the racetrack and you're the second, third, fourth, fifth heat race or whatever of the division, they are literally on the radio telling you, leaders, drag your feet. We are coming back to green. And like the whole field's not even on the racetrack yet. So the way that they keep the show moving, I think helps fans, first of all, but it helps us competitors too, because we always understand that expectation of you better be ready. You can't pull on the racetrack and, you know, you see a lot of guys pull down and, oh, my steering wheel is a little bit off. You got to have your stuff together when you're in the lineup shoot. Like you got to be tucked in right and tight and let's go.
Well, that's all because of the car count. Otherwise, you'd be sitting there racing past midnight, right?
For sure. And you know, even still, you know, they said at the banquet the track averaged 178 cars a night. I mean,
Wow.
that is insane to me. And there were numerous nights where we were done racing by 9:30. We start at 6, but you're done racing by 9:30 with 178 or more cars. There was 3 nights I think we were 200 plus at least. I know we hit 230 once. We were 220 once. So that is a ton of cars to push through. And I know they figure. I think they said is like a half an hour per 50 cars or something like that they anticipate using up.
Wow. Just incredible there. Hey, you mentioned, I know you race Seymour, 141. We talked about you want to hit Beaver Dam. Your schedule looks incredible, by the way. Is there any tracks on there other than those 3 that you're looking to hit, or maybe one that kind of is on your list if everything goes right that you want to travel to?
Not necessarily. I'd like to kind of, broaden the horizon, so to speak, but I kind of want to wait till towards the end of the year before we, maybe travel down to Iowa or something goofy like that. Maybe get up to the UP. They got a pretty decent track up there from what I've gathered. I've never seen it or whatnot, but it might be a fun place to go and burn some laps in.
Yeah, that would be cool to see a little bit. What are you looking forward to most this year? And does not racing for points alleviate some of that pressure and just going out there for fun? Do you think your mindset will change a little bit? And is that the point of you maybe not going weekly racing, is to alleviate some pressure and just go out and just have a blast like you do anyway?
I'll be real honest, Lauren. I would race for points, but I made an agreement with the better half last year to give me 1 year to go pursue Rookie of the Year, and she graciously allowed that. So we're going to take a little bit of time where we're just going to go and have some family time and camp, and do whatever she wants to do. I'm sure I'll be up at Hodag for a few days, so we'll go and enjoy some of that and a little bit of family time. And honestly, I'm kind of hoping that takes away the I have to be ready by Saturday kind of mentality a little bit, because you get to August, and I'm sure most drivers will say the same thing. You get to August, and not that you're drained or like ready for the season to be over, because I feel like we all probably say that, but in the back of our minds, you get to November and you wish you were still racing. But you're worn out. Like you kind of need that little bit of break to maybe gather your bearings and go back through notes and just kind of get that mental aspect of it back in line where it should be.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we
hop
always
in here, Mark, for a second.
go ahead, Mark.
You mentioned Hodag there. You're gonna have a boombox. Maybe I'm showing my age. You're gonna have a boombox with rap music there, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as they allow me.
Yeah,
They
I know
do a
what you're
really good
talking
job
about.
there of kind of the nightlife, I guess, so to speak. Um, it's kind of like being in Nashville. It's good music, and you're just kind of there for the background noise. It's really about the people and enjoying other people's company and hanging out and kind of doing things different.
Yeah, I've been to Nashville and I've been up to the Hodag, so yeah, I could do a comparison with that. I know what you're talking about with the season being long. We always see that down in the pits. When it gets to be August, also it gets to be a dragon. Even after Labor Day, all of a sudden you see the weather's still beautiful, and you say, you know what, they could still be out there doing it. So we definitely understand how long the season could be such a drag.
Yeah, and it's not like you're like, oh man, I really can't wait for this to be over, because you don't want it to be over, but at the same time, like I said, you're just kind of mentally drained, and sometimes the checkbook's drained along with it. So, not that you're ready for
Yeah.
it to be over, but you're definitely ready for maybe a week off or something like that. And I feel like this year now, with not forcing myself to race for points, that if I get drained like that, I can just take that week off, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I was trying to word my question in that way to alleviate that pressure and everything. I think that can be a very good thing. I think there's a lot of talks even about locally. Does a division take a week off during the season just to alleviate some of that pressure? Go on family trips. You can schedule it that week. I know for like the icebreaker coming up, I might be showing up late because kids are only young for so long and enjoy certain things, and it doesn't get any easier. So you got to prioritize that. You mentioned Amber, your better half there. We're going to have her on next week, part of the women's podcast we're having. We're super excited about that. But she loves racing as much of the next there. Hey, Amber, she loves racing as much as the next there. So it's just so cool to see you guys involved and you being a driver with her backing you up there.
Oh, absolutely. And I can't do anything without her. The social media stuff is definitely not entirely her, but definitely led by her, and the ideas are, at least the good ones, are are hers. So I'm sure all of you guys saw the FRC schedule. So she's used her time wisely while she
Two
was.
thumbs up there, man. That was
Yeah,
cool stuff.
tell you
Yeah.
what, she was pretty stressed about it when she was making it. So you'll have to ask her a bunch of questions about that, because she was pretty stressed about it while she was making it. So it was fun to see it come together. There was many nights where she was like, I just don't think I can make this work, and obviously it worked out. So it was really really neat to see her be able to use her creative mind in that sense, and kind of take her mind off of just sitting around.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. The social media stuff is just huge, and you guys are doing a great job of it. And I was going to joke with you that it seems like she's got to keep you in line and get you involved on that a little bit there. The videos are great though, and I do have a lot of questions and some things to mention about her and Sarah doing such a great job behind the scenes. Schedule looks
Absolutely.
awesome, like you said, and she's doing such a great job. And in addition to that, supporting you and going dirt racing too.
Yeah, there's days where I think she may like it more than I do, other than the midweek stuff, right? But uh, as far as heading to the racetrack, she definitely enjoys it as much as I do.
So, what else do you got planned coming up here? Where can people follow you? Anything exciting coming up in the next few weeks before racing gets started?
Well, I think we have an Instagram. I think it's Bahr_motorsports_58 on Instagram. And I know we have a TikTok. I've never been on TikTok, but I know the wife made a Bahr Motorsports TikTok. So you can probably follow us there. I don't know what kind of content's on there, but yeah, we got a bunch of parades and stuff that we're going to do throughout the year. We'll be April 4th. We'll be at the Gamblers game, along with numerous other cars from what I've kind of gathered there. So I think we're doing that. And then we have the Cheese Fest parade early June there. And then 4th of July, we'll be up in Shawano for that parade, for the 4th of July parade. And then we always do the Greenville summer send-off parade too. I think that's all we're doing. She could probably correct me, but she's over here in my ear trying to tell me what to say. So, yeah, I mean, as far as the non-race nights go, that's kind of where we're at. I'd like to get kind of a few more things lined up, but we got family stuff too that we want to do. So I don't want to take up too much of the time to kind of go and do sponsors and race car stuff. As much as I enjoy doing that, and tell all my sponsors if there's any events that you want us at or want us to promote, by all means, we'll do it.
Yeah.
That's what it's
Hey,
all about.
not only Amber, but who else helps you behind the scenes, man? What makes it go?
We got Caleb right there, Mr. Crew Chief, shy on the camera. We got my dad, Rick, who's over there talking to Aaron. Aaron walked in now, so and then we got my nephews, Hunter Price, Dylan Price, Carter Price, and then the lovely wife. But that's pretty much it. The kids, I kind of let them take care of the race day stuff, and really trying to get them involved as far as the shop stuff goes, because without the next generation, we're kind of fighting a losing battle here. So I'd really like to see them involved as much as they can, and they pretty much spend all winter working so they can pay for to go to the races. So I greatly appreciate all the help that they give throughout the year, and along with everybody else.
I was just about to mention you doing all those parades and events is huge for the next generation. I can't tell you how many kids I've seen at parades or events where there's a race car and they just go crazy over it. So kudos to you and your family and your team for doing that, because that certainly helps in that direction.
For sure. So one quick funny story about that. So the 2023, we were at the Greenville Summer Send-Off, and I raced Friday night at Seymour, and maybe I told this in the last time I was on the podcast. I don't remember, because we actually ended up, that was our first feature win, was that night after the summer send-off. But to get back to the story, we were rolling through the parade, and there was a kid over on the side of the road. Hey, I just saw you race last night at Seymour, and I was like, that is awesome. Like, yeah. Like, to me, that's what it's all about. Seeing the kids' faces, and I'm sure they are probably more excited for the candy that gets thrown their direction, but you can definitely see, like you said, that their faces light up, and it's something different. And maybe not everybody gets to experience that. You kind of take that for granted as, being in the sport as long as all of us have, and being as involved as we've all been over the past umpteen years.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes you just take it for granted and don't think about it, quite frankly. Like it gets lost a little bit, and life is so busy. But I think it's great what you're doing, man. I hope to make it to the Cheese Fest parade this year. I have been to that in probably 15, 20 years, and now that I got kids, I'd like to make it out for that. So I'd enjoy the hell seeing your 58 car getting some love during the parade.
For sure. It was kind of crappy weather last year, so I'll excuse you. It was kind of dreary and rainy, the majority of the day. So not a real great parade weather, but I heard the party was pretty good the 2 nights, so they made up for
Yeah.
it. The adults made up for it.
Yeah. Hey, I got to ask too, the business side of things, with all the success you're having, I see a lot more sponsors on your car. What's that like, having maybe people approach you, or what's the biggest challenge on the business side in trying to at least recoup some of the funds that you're spending traveling to all these places and spending on a hobby that you enjoy?
Sponsors are, I mean, that's everything, and it's again something, as a crew member, I never really, not that you didn't interact with sponsors, because obviously, you're around it enough, you interact with people. But to me, that was the biggest change, was you're kind of not begging, but you're asking people to spend their money to help you afford your passion, so to speak, and in exchange, you're hoping that you can provide them a little boost to their business in return. And the biggest thing that I kind of took away, not only from Al and Andy, but countless other people that I've helped throughout my career, is it's not necessarily about the racing, so to speak, right? It's about how you're going to enable that company that is giving you that help, how you're going to help them kind of recoup that cost. And it's not always about big name sponsors or big money sponsors. It's you know we, we say it all the time, for us, we'll take anything. I'll promote you as hard as I can to make you want to be involved even more yet. And that's kind of the goal, is to kind of take what you have and what you've learned over the 30 years, and just trying to help that business be better, and help your race program be better on top of it.
Yeah, man, for sure. I'm kind of going through that too. How do you, same thing. So I was curious on your answer about that, but it was great to see all the sponsors that you've gained over the last year and a half or so, and all of that, and well deserved too. I can't say that enough. So,
Again,
um,
thanks to the wife. She does a great job of promoting everything, and I do anything I can. I got the Four Schmitz and Eagles hat on today, and just wearing a Tim Rothy's sweatshirt today. So not necessarily one of the sponsors, but definitely somebody that has supported me throughout this journey.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome, man. That's awesome.
yep. Well, man, it was great to catch up with you. I appreciate you hopping back on here. We'll have you in again, I'm sure, this year or early next year to kind of do a season recap and see how your season went. Actually, I just thought of something as we were wrapping up here. I want to talk about something that maybe you don't, but you mentioned it. You had a rollover about early to mid season there, and you guys came back from that, and that was quite powerful to see you guys regroup as fast as you did, and in all of that. Talk about the moment of going through something like that, and then recouping after that, and deciding what you're going to do, and then building as fast as you can.
Well, obviously in the moment it wasn't great, but I'll be real honest. When I was sitting there and upside down, and they're trying to help you get out of the car, and I couldn't get unbuckled, with all the tension on the belts, I just couldn't get them to unlatch. And that's kind of nerve wracking, because obviously you can't see anything that's going on around you. Everything is kind of corralled around the top of you. So, and I looked to the left and the right, and basically all I saw was aluminum. So then you're kind of paying attention to the safety workers and what they're saying, and what they're doing. And I was pretty calm in the car, until I heard one of the safety workers, "There's fuel leaking. Get him out of there." And I was like, "All right, it's time to go, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what you guys got to do, but get me out of here." but they were extremely quick. I don't even think the car was done rocking back and forth, and I had a safety guy on both sides of me asking me if I was okay, and it was a very fast and slow happening thing kind of at the same time. But then, kind of post that, you get out and assess the car, and you get back to the shop, and then things kind of set in, so to speak, where you're like, holy crap, I was upside down, and what are we going to do, and how am I going to, I got, like you said, I have all these supporters and sponsors, and not that they probably really even cared if I got back on the track, but I felt that I owed them the entire season because that's what I promised. So you start thinking of that, and honestly, I woke up the next morning, and we got back at like 1:30. Andy actually met me at the shop, and thank God he was there to help me unload the car because it was not rolling in the right directions. But we were able to get it unloaded. I think I got to bed at like 1:30, 2 o'clock, and then I was back to work by 6. So that next day was pretty tough mentally for me. And when I got home, I actually ended up leaving work early that day. Just kind of, I just mentally wasn't at work. You know what I mean? You started to kind of process what had happened the night before, and that I was supposed to be racing that night, and now I'm obviously not. So you kind of go through that heartbreak process a little bit, and I came home, and like the sunlight was like on. I think the wife actually posted a picture of the car, and it just like looked so sad, and I don't know, it like just wrecked me. So we kind of got through that process, and Dad and Caleb actually ended up coming over while I was at work over the next week, and they stripped the car down, and we kind of assessed it, and it wasn't, I could have fixed it kind of thing, but how much money did you want to stick into it? Did it make sense? And then we ended up going to purchase the car from Coivlees. That was his car the previous year. So then it was all about thrashing, and all right, you kind of got your mentality back of let's go get this back, and we haven't missed anything yet. So the goal to get 141 Speedway Rookie of the Year was still attainable. So really then it just became all about like how do we get back and how do we do it so it's done right. And we kind of were ready the day before we made our debut back with this car. I think it's rolling by. So we kind of made a decision. We could have went to Seymour. We chose not to. Just there were kind of a couple other things that you could spend a little more time on, and we just kind of chose to make sure things were right when we did hit the track rather than 3/4 right.
Yeah, I didn't want to end on that, but honestly, it might be a great thing we did, because just hearing that story and the redemption that you had and recouping from that is just incredible. So I appreciate you telling that story and going in depth on it.
Yeah, honestly, if it wasn't for my dad and Caleb, and again my wife, but mostly Caleb and Dad, they kind of just they pushed you to like, it's okay, we'll be all right. Let's go get back in the garage. Let's get things assessed, and let's get back to work. So it was great to have them standing behind me and pushing me, what I would say, in the right direction.
Don't do that again, then. How's that?
I definitely got told that a few times.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey man, like I said, that's a great story of redemption for you guys and recouping and everything, and happy that you're okay and everything, and you still had a great year, just incredible. So, like I said before, we can't wait to have you back on again. Well, I'm sure we'll see you at some short tracks. I gotta come see you race at 141 this year, so I gotta make that happen. But we appreciate the hell out of you, appreciate your friendship, everything that you're doing for racing.
You guys for years to come out for like the Clash or something like that. When you get all the big name dirt guys out there, maybe we can get you out there for the late models.
I I can't make that happen this year. It's a long story with vacation at work. There was a miscommunication, and I don't have the vacation I thought I was going to have.
Work always gets in the way of racing.
I know. So maybe next year. Maybe that should be on the list, at the top of the list.
We'll get you out for a race regardless.
Right. Yes, for sure, man. Well, hey, man, go enjoy some family time and working on the race car. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, Lauren. See you, Mark.
Good luck. Yep. Good luck.
Good chatting.
See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, Mark, that was great to get an update from Shane there. I was a little nervous asking about the wreck he had there, and I thought about it at the end, and kind of a neat way to end it, actually. I wasn't expecting that, but what a story of redemption and regathering after that, after such a tough thing to go through. So he still had one hell of a year, picking up the Rookie of the Year at 141, almost doing it at Outagamie Speedway, too. I knew that was close. So I got to get out to a dirt race and see that guy race, man. It's he's been a friend for a long time, a friend of my brother's up until the day that he passed, and just a great guy who's helped out a lot of people in the racing world, and cool to see him hop behind the wheel and have so much success right away.
You gotta bring your goggles though, dude, because you're at a dirt track. But could you just imagine? You roll your car over, you're bringing home at 2:00 in the morning. You got to be to work at 6:00, and then you sit there at work, and the whole day you're probably thinking, well, this has got to happen. This is going to happen. This I got to do. You start getting your priorities, and like you said, he got home, and then the sun is a spotlight on the car, and it looks sad. And but yeah, you regroup, man. It's what race teams do. Man, they just regroup and fire away and keep right on going, man.
Yeah, and he's a prime example of that for sure. But like you said, don't do it again. That was probably the best comment after that. Yeah, don't do that. We don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing him not race for points and just kind of have a blast with it, which I know he normally does anyway. But I think you hear more and more people that do that just really enjoy it just a little bit more, and I'm excited to see how that works out for him and his team.
Yeah, it seems like chasing points makes it more of a grind, and this way you can actually just you can pick and choose where you want to go, and you can, and hey, have fun. That's what the whole sport is all about, man.
Oh, no doubt. Well, again, thanks to Shane for joining us there. We'll move into some news here. So some exciting news in the short track world. Flow Sports is rolling out, or has rolled out, a new series titled Free Racing on Flow Racing, with 6 key events to be broadcast for free on the Flow Racing YouTube channel. One has already happened. It was this past Friday, March 21st at Kubota, at the Kubota High Limit Racing Series at Bakersfield at Kevin Carvick's Kern Raceway. The next free one will be this Friday, March 28th, the Mars Late Models at Mekokita Speedway in Iowa. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, to be honest with you. And then the next one will be Friday, April 25th at Lucas Oil, with the Lucas Oil Late Models, at Georgetown Speedway in Delaware. Then Thursday, May 1st, Kubota High Limit Racing at Texas Motor Speedway. The Cup Series is at Texas Motor Speedway that weekend there, so that kind of coincides there. Then Thursday, May 22nd, Lucas Oil Late Models at Lucas Oil Speedway in Missouri. That's the Show Me 100 weekend. Wednesday, June 25th, Kubota High Limit Racing at Lake Ozark Speedway in Missouri. So those are the remaining races that will be free on Flow Racing's YouTube channel. So pretty cool that they're rolling that out.
Love it, man. There's more exposure to racing, man. Love dirt racing, so that's all right. Oh, coast to coast too.
Yeah, I'm going to be tuning in to most of that, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Flow Sports and Flow Racing to do that. Also, Kyle Busch announced that him and Braxton Busch, his son, will race against each other tomorrow night. So that's Wednesday at Millbridge. So I saw an interview from Kyle Larson actually, and he said that he thinks Brexton will dust his dad, Kyle Busch. So that was kind of funny that Kyle Larson said that.
Yeah, well, he's always in that car. This is new to Kyle, so and he was supposed to come out with a big announcement, and they were wondering what it was all about. What kind of big announcement's coming? But that was it. So yeah, let's see the kid to beat up on the old man, and he probably will.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I just want to mention the ASA Stars National Tour Sunshine State 200 was this past weekend. Cole Butcher won that with Garcia, Craig, Nassie, and Howard being the top 5 there. It looked like Cole Butcher was pretty darn good all day.
Yeah, he's stepped up his program, man, getting better all the time. There was there was a couple grinder wrecks there, like there typically is there at Five Flags. Um, looked pretty decent weather down there, and it was a lot of car count, and it looked a good event down there.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the Stars National Tour continue to grow and be successful. And they've done a good job about putting money into it and making it more affordable for the teams to join that program full time and race it full time. So that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, seeing Pensacola, man, just thinking, you know what? There's such a possibility that we're going down there this year. So, looking forward to it. Yeah, it always, and then I lived there for 3 years, and just like, man, that's my second home down there, man. I got to get back down there.
Yeah, fingers crossed for me to be able to go.
Okay.
Moving into the open wheel news section here, we'll recap some of the racing later. 76's sponsorship of Juncos Hollinger and Connor Daly's number 20, Connor Daly's car, excuse me. Remember we mentioned 76 they changed that number to the 76 sponsor there. It is part of a deal with Cyclum Next Gen Travel Centers, which has a licensing agreement with Phillips 66 to use the 76 brand at 400 travel centers it's building around America. So it has a bunch of travel centers going on there. So it's part of that deal with Cyclum. I might be pronouncing that wrong. Next Gen Travel Centers. So some more details on that 76 sponsorship with Juncos Hollinger and Connor Daly.
Yeah, we talked it with an orange ball, orange ball with the 76, and here they changed it that week. I watched the race that day. It was a powder blue with a dark 76 on it. I just well, I was wrong on that one when I brought that up the last time. So, but still looked really sharp.
Yeah. Some Formula One news. Liam Lawson could be replaced at Red Bull this weekend or before the Japan weekend by Yuki Tsunoda as early as the Japanese Grand Prix. It sounds like Adam Stern has learned that it's probably going to happen, which is super unfortunate because Liam Lawson is one of the young rookies coming up, has a promising future, maybe hasn't performed up to Red Bull standards early, but I think it's hard to be Max Verstappen's teammate. So I was hoping they gave him a little bit more time, but on the flip side, Yuki Tsunoda is having a good start, and I would look forward to seeing him in the Red Bull car as well. So we'll see what happens. Adam Stern has some news on there that says that it's probably more likely than not coming from a source. So we'll see what happens there.
That's unfortunate, but maybe a step back for just a little bit, and reset, and then maybe come back at another time.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Going to ARCA news here, the E-Series was running this past weekend. Max Reeves won it in his debut. Cole Raz finished runner-up. They had a pretty good battle there all night.
Max Reeves, and all of a sudden, just like, there's a name I haven't heard more, and then you said it was his first race, so maybe that's why I never heard of him.
Yeah. Xfinity news, Patrick Starpoli will make his Xfinity debut at Martinsville, driving for Sam Hunt Racing. So there's another driver making his debut in the Xfinity Series at Martinsville coming up this weekend. He's going to do multiple races for the team.
Yep, on a little bull ring of Martinsville, good place to get it started right there.
Going to Cup Series now, Josh Berry's Darlington throwback that pays tribute to Jim Clark and his 1965 Indy 500 winning Lotus 38. The Wood brothers actually pitted for that car, so his throwback is a pretty cool scheme.
Looking forward to that. Love them throwback schemes, man. Brings back memories of some
It,
of those paint jobs, man, when they bring them out.
it's awesome, yeah. Going with the throwback schemes here, Chase Elliott, his paint scheme came out. It's a throwback to the early 1990s Ken Schrader car. And also Denny Hamlin's throwback for Darlington is a nod to Carl Edwards' paint scheme from 2006 to 2007 when he was racing with Office Depot as a sponsor. So I love looking at those throwback schemes.
Yep, the Office Depot was a kind of a red and black scheme, and then the Chase Elliott one, that's the Ken Schrader kind of green and whitish kind of thing with the UniFirst sponsorship. Looks sharp today. I saw that today.
Yeah. NASCAR clarified a rule here. I'm going to read this real quick. This is regarding using another team's pit stall. Remember, Christopher Bell stopped in Briscoe's pit stall a couple weeks ago and only got that penalty to go to the back for pitting outside the box. So they clarified the rule. It now says if a vehicle receives service in another team's pit stall to correct a safety issue, the vehicle will receive a flag status penalty, which will be restart tail of the field or a pass through for the vehicle pitting outside of the assigned pit box. Some examples of a safety issue are tighten loose wheel nuts or lug nuts, remove a fuel can, remove a wedge wrench, remove the jack from under the vehicle. If a vehicle receives service in another team's pit stall for competition adjustments, the vehicle may receive a lap or laps worth of penalty. So again, if it's a safety issue, it'll just be tail end or a pass through. If it's a competition adjustment that they stop for in another box, they may receive a lap or multiple laps worth of penalty.
I can agree with all of that. You know, that is when NASCAR right away said that was a safety issue with that tire possibly being loose. Um, so if it comes to like catch, gas cans and wrenches and stuff like that, to just easily pull them all out, and you can start at the back. No harm, no foul. That's just like pitting outside the box. But I'm glad they clarified that where somebody can go in and get an adjustment from somebody else. Yeah, then I would yell foul. So I like that rule all the way around. Sounds good.
Yeah, I like it as well.
Yep.
Hooters announced, or actually, it was announced that Hooters agreed to pay $900,000 to Hendrick Motorsports, according to court records. Hendrick Motorsports had originally sued Hooters for $1.705 million plus interest for what it had not paid for the 2024 sponsorship for Chase Elliott. It was a $1.7 million deal. The team had announced 3 primaries plus an associate sponsor there, so they came together for $900,000. Unfortunate story here because Hooters is such an iconic paint scheme, iconic sponsor in the racing world. Up here we think about Alan Kawicki having that sponsor. It was cool to see them come back with Chase Elliott, but unfortunately it doesn't sound good for their business model and all of that. So we'll see.
It was something that we actually saw a store down in Madison, all of a sudden, hey, there's a Hooters, but how can you sue somebody when they just file for bankruptcy? So I understand how. I mean, maybe they'll come back and file for bankruptcy again because that's a big chunk of money right there going to Hendrick.
I wonder if it matters, and again, I'm not anything legal. I wonder if it matters because they sued before they filed for bankruptcy. I wonder if that matters. I don't know, but yeah,
That
with them
works.
filing now, I'm not sure how that works.
I think that might be the last time you probably see Hooters in racing. So unfortunate there.
Yeah.
And they've been around a long time, man. Long, long time sponsor. So unfortunate there.
Well, we were down at the Pensacola Hooters, and they have a picture of Alan Kawicki outside of one of the stores with the paint scheme and the Hooters in the background. Those are the moments I think of. I wasn't lucky enough to see Alan's career because I was too young. But what an iconic thing that I look back on and like to remember, and it'll never happen again, unfortunately. So it's sad, but I hope they're able to survive as a business and keep going. And you never know what can happen, but Yeah, it's tough.
We'll see, because yeah, we were surprised. Hey, there's still a store in Madison, um, so maybe they can stay relevant, stay keep their head above water, and maybe they'll still be around. So we can only hope.
Yeah. Austin Hill will compete in 5 cup races with United Rentals as the sponsor. United Rentals will also serve as an associate partner on both Austin Dillon's number 3 and Kyle Busch's number 8 Chevy throughout the Cup Series season. Austin Hill will be competing at Darlington Raceway on April 6th, Chicago Street Course July 6th, Daytona on August 23rd, Bristol on September 13th, and Talladega on October 19th.
Yeah, Childress wants to get that third team going. That was announced before the season started, so I knew Austin Hill was going to actually have the steering wheel in his hands. So for 5 races, it's trying to get that team and get it off the ground.
Yeah. Any news that you want to talk about in addition to that?
I don't think so, man. You covered the Pensacola one that I was, because last time we didn't talk about the Star Series when we were on here, and when we got off here, we said we didn't mention them. So unfortunate there, but otherwise, yeah, man, you got all your bases covered there.
I want to talk about the F1 and IndyCar races now before we recap Homestead real quickly. In Formula One, Oscar Piastri dominated the race. His teammate Norris was runner-up. He got a good start and up to second, but lost brakes at the end, which made him fall back a little bit, but he was able to hang on to second. George Russell battled up front all day in his Mercedes, came home third. Pierre Gasly, Charles Leclerc, and Lewis Hamilton were disqualified from the event. Gasly and Leclerc's cars were found to be underweight, while Hamilton's car was deemed to have excessive skid wear. They were hitting those, not turtles, but curbs quite significantly there, so that might be a factor into that. It was a really good day for Haas, the American team. Of course, Gene Haas being the owner there, finishing 5th with Esteban Ocon and 8th with Ali Behrman. Also, Antonelli has been impressive as a rookie. He has finishes of 4th and 6th as his first 2 races in Formula One. He is with Mercedes, so they are a good team there, but still impressive as a rookie.
Okay, yeah, that was China, and then they go what? Japan this weekend, huh?
Japan next weekend.
Next week. Okay.
The race was on ESPN, of course. It got 824,000 viewers, which was 4th on the weekend for motorsports viewers.
It's okay. People are watching racing, so that's good.
And that's in America, by the way, not worldwide.
Okay.
Going to the IndyCar race there, DeFrancesco and McLaughlin made contact and spin early. Callum Ilott also got into his teammate Schwartzman and got a bunch of air there. He had to replace the wing. Marcus Ericsson also went around into the dirt. And how about this? Alex Palou made up 11 seconds in like 5 laps to take the lead over Pato Award with like 10 to go. He would end up winning by like 10 seconds. He's 2 for 2 to start the season. It was Palou, Award, and Lundgaard, the top 3. Herta and Rosenquist rounded out the top 5. Penske didn't have a great weekend, didn't qualify really that well. Power ended up 6th, but Newgarden was 13th, and McLaughlin finished last due to that early incident and another issue. McLaughlin and DeFrancesco did have words after the race, and let's just say they disagreed. Not suitable for work, NSFW. But DeFrancesco did get a penalty for that contact.
Agree to disagree. Yeah, we've seen that before. So hey, I understand that Fox had a major meltdown and lost the broadcast, and I guess some Indy fans weren't too pleased about that. But they still went back. They went to the Cup race instead. So, but unfortunately, I don't know how long it was down, but it sounded like it was significant.
It was significant. I went back and watched the race and actually experienced it. They put the Cup Series on Fox during the time that it was down, and it was enough time to get into the Cup race. So I wonder if some viewers switched even from IndyCar to NASCAR after seeing that. I don't know, but
yeah, once when you get into one, it's just like reading a book. All of a sudden you want to stay with it. So unfortunate there, man. But hey, that Alex Palou, huh? That dude is on it right now. He's the number one dude right now.
He's won 3 championships in 4 years, and he's 2 for 2 to start this season. Yeah, it could be a long road to hoe here for everyone else.
Yep, he set the bar high, man. So he's the man to beat.
Their next race will be Long Beach on April 13th. IndyCar did get 704,000 viewers here in America, which was 5th on the board for motorsports.
That's that's on the big network, Fox. So you figure the numbers would be a little higher there, but we'll see how it goes as the summer goes on. They'll be on Fox all season long.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then the truck race at Homestead. We'll get into the Homestead weekend. We'll do all 3 series here quickly. Unfortunately, Ruggiero spins and collects roads on the start. Close call for Ty, Enfinger, and Honeycutt, among others there. But, man, lap 1 incident.
It's like me on iRacing, can't even make it to the backstretch, right? And poor Ben Rhodes, man, had nowhere to go, and he ended up with major front end damage, and his day was all set. But yeah, unfortunate, man, didn't even get out of turn 2.
Yeah. Heim gets by Larson with 1 to go and wins the stage. Riggs and Chastain would have slow stops there. And then in stage 2, there was a close call between Ty and Ankrum. Ankrum actually lifted to avoid there.
Yeah, he had to lift her, otherwise there was going to be an incident there for sure.
Heim, Larson, Ty, and Friesen had a great battle for the lead that lasted for some time there. That was pretty cool to see those 4 battle.
Yep, that was a good battle going on at that time.
Heim wins the stage over, or actually Heim just wins the stage. Riggs pulls out of his pit during the break there and makes Honeycutt slow down. He tries to avoid, and Honeycutt would make some contact with Ty. Ty got some pretty good damage from it and had to come back in to fix it. I was shocked at the amount of damage it did on that left front.
It really was, man. They had to go up inside, and pound that dent back out of there. Boy, that's a tight pit road on Homestead, so very tight quarters there, and doesn't take much to make contact there.
No, and actually, they had Kyle Larson on. I think it was Kyle Larson on Sirius XM radio. Maybe it was Joey Logano. It was Joey Logano. And he said Homestead is their pit road. If they're going to do a bunch of work to it, that they should look to widen pit road because it's pretty tight. It's not the tightest, he said. That would go to Gateway probably. But he said Homestead is is pretty tight there. And we'll talk about maybe why he was talking about pit road a little later on.
Yeah, okay.
Larson would spin just after Riggs got to his outside, maybe affecting the air there. Honeycutt and Crafton would get a penalty under that caution. And then Heim, who dominated the race, started having some issues. The truck kept shutting off. Larson comes all the way back through the field after a spin to take the race, give you 2 points there. It was Larson, Riggs, Heim, Ankrum, Hemrick, Chastain, Garcia, Chandler Smith, Enfinger, and Honeycutt.
Yeah, there was 6 laps to go, and we were sitting at the basketball tournament, and you said, should we watch these final 6 laps? And boy, when we did that, it just seemed like that lit the rocket fuel on Larson. And right away, within 2 laps, you said, Larson's going to win this race, isn't he? And, man, he blew right by him, and he got the victory there. So, yeah, amazing win. He runs good down there at Homestead, that Kyle Larson guy.
He does, yeah. The fastest lap went to Ross Chastain, 32.543 seconds, or 165.934 miles per hour. NASCAR trucks got 906,000 viewers, which I think is a great number. It was on Fox, so that probably helps, but it was 3rd of motorship viewership over the weekend.
On a Friday night, prime time. Why not, man? I'd love to see them throw them on there. Yeah, NASCAR should be on prime time once in a while on Fridays. That sounds good.
Well, and the impressive thing is the NCAA basketball tournament, which takes precedent for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so those numbers are really, really impressive with that going on.
Yes, very much so. Because, yeah, everybody's watching Madness right now. So, yep.
The Xfinity Series race at Homestead then, Josh Williams is battling pneumonia, so Ty Dillon practiced and qualified the car. Williams did start the race with Ty Dillon on standby by then, but early in the race, Quapple got a start violation. A little while later, Eckes would blow up. Wright went around. Bonsignor went around. And then there was an outstanding end to the stage with different strategies going on. Sammy Smith got by Kyle Sieg late to win it. Allgaier got a penalty for driving through too many stalls. And that was an interesting penalty because he didn't need to do it because he had an open stall in front of his box. So I don't know how that happened there.
It was obvious, dude. All of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, and yeah, it was definitely obvious that he got that, and yeah, he got sent to the back for that one.
Yeah. Once again, Heim was in this race and he had an issue and had to pull behind the wall. It was another power issue for him, so he had a terrible weekend down there at Homestead.
Man, change his spark plugs or something. Get him some new wires or whatever. New ignition
Unreal,
box. Yeah, when it rains, it pours there.
no doubt. Ryan Sieg had a tire go down and brush the wall. He had a pit with 3 to go on the stage, but it was Kyle Larson who won it.
Yeah, that was a caution free there. So, yep, that was stage 2. Once again, Kyle Larson was out front, man, and definitely looked like he was going to be unbeatable on this one.
Yeah. Bonsignor got into the wall. Allgaier got into the wall. And then Creed's tire changer almost got clipped there. Zilich hit tires in his box. All were okay there besides Zilich having crew over the wall too soon in addition to that. So pit road was kind of an interesting place in the Xfinity race.
That was something. There was a good camera angle with that tire changer. All of a sudden, when he turned, he looked, and there was the front end of that truck or that car right there. And I mean, it probably scared the heck out of both of them. But he scooted around the back of the car, and the other one took off, and it worked out. But I think there was just a mini second when they were both looking at each other. And, ooh, scary stuff right there.
Yeah, that was Creed's tire changer there. Just like, eeh.
Wow.
Yeah, Sammy Smith had a pit late with 19 to go. He had a flat right front, and then Taylor Gray went around with a flat right rear with 7 to go. Larson would look like he was going to go on and win this race pretty easily, but he almost got spun on the restart. Mayer was on him pretty good. That allowed Hill and Allgaier to get by. Allgaier got by Hill and wins the race. It was Allgaier, Mayer, Hill, Larson, Creed, Love, Jones, Sanchez, Dye, and Quapple. Xfinity Racing posted this on X. It was Allgaier's 27th win at 20th different track for Justin. So that I thought that was pretty cool. Also, NASCAR Insights put on there that it was the 4th last lap pass in the last 7 NASCAR Xfinity Series races, the most over 7 races in series history.
History. Wow. Good stuff there. You know, Larson was playing games on that restart, man, and he waited to the very end of the restart box, and Mayer timed it wrong, and he lifted up the back end of his car, and Larson said he couldn't go nowhere if the tires ain't totally on the ground. And yeah, Hill and Allgaier took off and made a heck of a race out of it. But boy, all of a sudden, you could see on the white flag lap that Allgaier cut down low, and there was no way Austin Hill was going to keep up with that. And so, yeah, that Allgaier, he wins on road courses, he wins on short tracks, he wins on all over the place, man. He is an awesome driver in the Xfinity Series.
In addition to taking the race win, he also won the Dash for Cash
Oh,
and
yeah.
will be in the Dash for Cash at Martinsville. It'll be him, Mayer, Hill, and Creed. He also had the fastest lap, 33.494 seconds or 161.233 miles per hour. The Xfinity race, which was on the CW, of course, got 1.160 million viewers. It was second on the weekend for motorsports viewership. But Justin Allgaier had a pretty good weekend with taking the win, getting the fastest lap, and the Dash for Cash, which he's won quite a few times.
And he didn't even remember it at the end till they mentioned it to him. Did you see his face light up? I was like, oh, yeah. He never even thought about the 100 grand that he just won on top of it. So that's
Yeah.
huge.
Moving on to the Cup Series race, then big contact between Buescher and Allmendinger. Were they both trying to side draft, or were they mad at each other? I really couldn't tell, and there was no mention of it or showing anything that coincided with it. But also, Larson got into the wall a few times early on there.
A few times, Larson, but he was doing it through the whole race, man. He was scrubbing the heck out of that right side of that vehicle. So,
Yeah. Briscoe had a long stop. Zane Smith was too fast, all during green flag stops there. And then Christopher Bell spins out of the corner. McDowell would take 2 tires, which gained him ground on pit lane, but it did not work for the long run there. Logano also had a slow stop. He's been struggling on pit stops lately, it seems. But Blaney would win the stage over Bowman. Bell was the free pass. And then Barry and Logano go out of their pit box, but Larson and others were to their outside. They made some contact with Larson and spin. Logano and Barry have to drive back to their pit stalls to work on their cars.
yeah, so it was kind of weird to see 2 cars backwards in the pit lane. So, isn't it amazing? Probably the greatest wheelman in racing, Christopher Bell, or even Larson the other night, losing it on Friday night. The greatest wheelman out there, and they lose it. They spin out. It's just kind of a head scratcher, man. But it happens, and Bell was just absolutely irrelevant the rest of that race. I mean, he just bumped the wall with the front end, didn't do no damage to it, but he was way off base, man. He was like, yeah, he was way out of it in the rest of this race.
Yeah, it was surprising to see that. And I mentioned Logano talking about Homestead being a tight pit lane. I think that is the incident that factored into him saying it. He's like, if they could just make it 10 feet wider, that would do the worlds of difference. And maybe they will, because it sounds like they got a bunch of work to do on the track.
Well, you wonder what it was going to do to Larson too. It had a hole about the size of a baseball on the bottom side of the door there. Wonder what, and they were going to come in and fix it, and they said just stay out there and we'll fix it later. And so yeah, apparently they did.
Yeah. Suarez would spin coming to pit road. No caution would happen. And Hamlin would end up winning the stage over Larson. Blaney made some contact with Elliott and Briscoe. And actually, I should probably word that a little differently. They made contact with him because he was kind of in the outer groove, and they made contact with him both times. In addition to that, Elliott had a pit entry violation.
Yeah, and Blaney, he lost 6 spots, with that contact, and he came in like third and came out ninth, and yeah, poor number 9, the stage there, man. Once it gets to be stage 2 and you have a penalty, man, it's going to kill you every time.
I saw a video of his violation on my lunch hour today, and he just creeped to the inside of, I forget who was to his outside, and then he ended up giving the spot back and getting back in line. But you just can't enter on the inside like that.
Nope. So they got him on that pit entry right there.
Hocevar would go behind the wall with an alternator issue, and then unfortunately Ryan Blaney, man, he blows up with 60 to go. And under this stop, Byron and Cindric get speeding penalties, but Ryan Blaney blowing 2 motors already this year, kind of crazy.
No warning on this one, man. She just went kaboom, and yeah, unfortunate for him. He's going to get a victory down the line, man, but he's got to keep the engines going. Yeah, and then Cindric and Byron got caught speeding, and you knew damn well that ruined their race. That was the end of that for them. And then Kyle Busch, he got the free pass there, and he totally stunk up the place too, man. Thought that 8 car had a lot of speed coming out of the box this year, but I don't know, on the mile and a half, man, it looks like they're struggling there.
Yeah. Bowman would get into the wall late while leading. That allowed Larson to get by and win. Larson may have done it anyway, but Bowman was going to make it tough for him. That made it a little easier. It was Larson, Bowman, Wallace, Briscoe, Hamlin, Buescher, Allmendinger, Reddick, Preece, and Haley. Bubba Wallace, who led a bunch of laps as well. He got the fastest lap, 32.335 seconds or 167.002 miles per hour. NASCAR got 2.464 million viewers on FS1, which was number 1 over the weekend.
Very good. So yeah, Bowman was doing things that's just like he cannot run the wall as good as Larson, and everybody knows being an inch off that wall is where the speed is. And he tried it, and he ended up grinding it up against the wall, and that was unfortunate. Yeah, Bubba being in third place, his teammate, Reddick, he was one of the favorites in this race, and he was totally irrelevant. Probably had a better long car, long run car, but boy, on the short runs, just couldn't get it going. Boy, AJ Allmendinger just has a way of always getting top tens at Homestead, ain't it? And he was there, and hey, good to see the 7-man make a top 10, huh? Haley gets a 10th, so good for him there. So good to see Briscoe actually getting that 19 car running again. So up to Forest, so a good run for him on there too.
Yeah, Austin was late in the race, and Busher was also well inside the top 10. AJ's had a great start to the season. He's been doing well. Haley, they mentioned him on SiriusXM today. He was on there giving an interview. He said they finally are gaining some momentum there. Unfortunately, he says he doesn't really like Martinsville, but they have some momentum, so maybe that'll help him. But yeah, some different uh, teams and drivers up there. Priest has had a good start to the season too, man. He's inside the top 10 again. Pretty cool to see them up front. One thing I did want to mention, this was interesting to me. You pointed this out a few weeks ago that Joey Logano has not had a top 10 yet. I want to give a little stat here that I found. I think this was from NASCAR Insights as well, so shout out to them. Follow them on X. They're a good follow. This is the laps led leaders in 2025 so far, and I'll go from 10th to first here. In 10th is Kyle Busch with 58. Alex Bowman in 9th with 62. Josh Berry has led 76 laps in 8th. Kyle Larson is 7th with 92. Bubba Wallace 6th with 98. Byron is 5th with 111. Bell, who won 3 races already, only has 114 laps led, which was interesting, sitting in 4th. Third was Ryan Blaney, 147. Cindric is 2nd, 159. And Joey Logano is first with 247 laps led. 247. His teammates are behind him. Cindric 159, Blaney 147. Joey Logano has led almost 100 laps more and has not finished inside the top 10.
But he's counting on them stage points, man. That's what's keeping him in the game, you know.
Unbelievable.
But also when he gets to the third stage, man, he just can't get the finishes. But that'll turn around, man. That team is too good. Same with Blaney, they're too good that things will turn around. They'll figure it out.
I didn't even know what to say. Christopher Bell, who won 3 races at 114, and Joey Logano has led 133 laps more and hasn't had a top 10.
Yeah, so
I was just like, wow.
Strange stat there, man.
Man. Well, they move on to Martinsville this upcoming weekend here, buddy. Let's make our picks and talk about the TV schedule and get off of here. Appreciate everyone's time joining in. So for the truck series, I get to pick first, and I will pick William Byron to win. The defending winner is Christian Eckes.
Christian Eckes, you are correct. Yeah, that 07, that's the one that Byron's going to be in. That's the same one that Larson ran last week in the truck series, got the victory. That's going to be tough to beat, man. That's going to be hard. But hey, man, I'm going to throw a curveball at you. Eckes run that 19 car. He's won 2 races in a row there, multiple stages. So they've got the setup for that. Daniel Hemrick. And if you look at some stats, he's had some top 10s there. And with a setup like this, I'm just going to roll the dice, man, and throw a little Daniel Hemrick with you in a truck that should have the setup for the race.
Well, and he's a short tracker at heart, so could be a very good pick there. I don't know how many people are picking Daniel Hemrick, but I feel like that's a sneaky good pick by you.
And he's seventh in points, so just quietly, he's having a halfway decent season. So good start to the season, but sure haven't heard much about him, man. What he do? He just got did he just get a sixth place? He got a fifth place at Homestead. So, and never heard about him all day. So that's my pick for you, man. I'm just going to throw Daniel Hemrick and give him some love there.
Yeah, I like it a lot, actually. For the Xfinity Series race, Eric Almirola is the defending winner. Why not? I'll take Eric Almirola.
He's won their last two times there, dude. So there's another one that's going to be hard to beat. I'll tell
That's
you
my
what.
second time using them, though, so that's a little worrisome.
That's all right, man. You get the victory, you'll be just fine. Because if you didn't take him, I should be all over the top of that one. But I'm going to take somebody that's been running really well lately, and he runs really super, super good at Martinsville, and that's Sammy Smith. And we're going to throw the 8 car at you and see what we can do about trying to beat the 19 there in the Xfinity race.
The defending winner for the Cup Series race is William Byron. You get to go first, buddy.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got to do that this time. Hey, man, when you think Martinsville, who do you think of right away? First one, you probably think, how about Denny Hamlin? And so I haven't used him yet this year, so that's who I'm going to throw at you, man. I'm going to give you the 11.
Yeah, hard not to take him. I am going to take the defending race winner again, William Byron. I'm going to take him for the second time over the weekend. He did not run well there in the fall, but he is the defending winner of the spring race. So I'm hoping that works out in my favor.
Yeah, I mentioned that to you yesterday, saying, hey, do you remember he couldn't hardly get in the top 10? And it was actually a trip to the championship round. And they just definitely were totally off base on that race. So see if they can turn that around and make it worth a challenge to see if they can catch up to Denny Hamlin this weekend.
Yeah. For the TV schedule, then, these will be Central Times. So Friday at 1:05 on FS2 will be truck practice and qualifying. 3:30 on the CW app will be Xfinity practice and qualifying. And then 6:30 on FS1, the truck race gets going. Stages of 50, 50, and 100 in the 60s with 10% chance. Saturday, 1:05 on Prime Video, Cup practice and qualifying. 3:30 on the CW, NASCAR countdown. 4 o'clock on the CW, then the Xfinity race gets going. Stages of 60, 60, and 130 in the 70s with 5% chance. And then Sunday, 12:30 on FS1 is NASCAR race day. Also on FS1 at 2 o'clock is the Cup Series race. Stages of 80, 100, and 220 in the 70s with 30% chance. So Sunday looks to be the iffy day. We'll see what happens down there, but that's the TV schedule for Martinsville upcoming here.
I also see something a little, the Friday night might be dealing with just a little bit of weather. So we're going to we'll be all right out of you so we can knock a 5% out of that there, buddy.
We'll be all right.
All right. So and give us one more for the Cup race on Sunday too.
We'll be all right.
All right. That takes 5% out just because Lauren says so. So there you go, fans. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, man, we appreciate Shane coming on so much. Shane Bahr, go follow his socials that he was talking about on there. Thank you to Tim with the Corp Racing. Mark, you got your cup there. I got mine here as well. Appreciate it, Tim, and Ben and Curie with Valley Gasket as well. Just incredible what everyone does for us. It's appreciated. Final thoughts here with Brian Buxick, his friends and family. Terrible loss. Trying to think of something to do in his honor. We'll see if I can think of something or his family wants to do anything. Also to Tom Jennerjohn, his friends and family, another huge loss in the racing community. So our continued thoughts with everyone there as well, and everyone else dealing with whatever they're dealing with.
Everybody out there, live for today, man. It's always been my motto. You live for today. Tomorrow's not promised. So give the ones you love out there, give them a big hug. All right.
Yep, absolutely. I learned that at a young age too, that you got to live for today. And sometimes you can't see what people are dealing with. So just everyone hang in there. We'll get through it. Reach out to us if you need to or whatever. We're always here for you. So Mark, I appreciate you as well, man. It was fun to be down in Madison this past Friday with you. Continue to do this. Hell, we even sometimes will video chat during the races, which I've had a good time with. We'll have to do another live at some point as well, when time allows. So appreciate you, man. Appreciate everyone else for their support. And hey, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a good weekend at the Paperclip. We'll see you later, man.
See ya.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.